Who am I?
What is community?
Where do I fit in?
What motivates me?
How do I take action?
What is civic engagement?
How do I resist?
How do I resist?
How do I resist?
In this study, participants shared similar ideas about their definition of community. The vast majority defined it as a group of people that share something in common, such as their racial, ethnic, or cultural background, gender, social, and peer networks, religion, or geographic communities. According to participants, this shared experience or identity fosters a connection between multiple individuals and creates a sense of community. One student defined community as a network or system of people who share a common thing, and another defined it as a community is like a group of people that share something.
There were multiple communities that participants reported being a part of. These most commonly include UIC, social communities, and religious communities. Students who are involved in UIC choose to do so through their classes and clubs. The social community includes their friends, families, and people with similar cultural backgrounds. Religious communities can be reflected in the clubs they choose to join on campus, as well as through their active participation at their temple, mosque, or church, and so on.
The specific ways in which participants engage in the communities varied, but they frequently explained how their engagement stems from having a genuine and active interest in the communities they identify. For instance, students reported being aware of the current events that are taking place within their communities. They also described participating in events, whether it be cultural, shared language, or familial, or residing in the same neighborhoods as long as the community had a shared interest or common goal. Through these activities of engagement, students reported a sense of belonging with the particular communities that they reported being a part of.
Family is an integral part for most, if not all, immigrant youth. There is a pull by families on students to help with day-to-day life that causes a stressor that the child just doesn't know how to handle. They feel a sense of obligation to the people that raise them, and balancing school, family, and sometimes even work never bodes well for the student. They deal with an onslaught of demands, and any unanswered questions splinters that bridge between the older immigrant generation and the younger Americanized generation. We see this primarily in the Asian American community and the Latinx community. Parents need help with the household, and sometimes, depending on financial status, need help with payments and need help raising younger siblings. In turn, this places a student in a very, very difficult position. However, there is no lack of love in these families, but rather just that lack of understanding. Families still love their children, but with that lack of understanding and that culture clash, tensions can run high. UIC immigrant youth students still rely on their families for support and recognize their family and people of similar backgrounds as their communities.
Students from immigrant backgrounds rarely feel that they've accomplished the high standards that their families have set for them. There is a constant battle between the student and the reality of this competitive lifestyle to fulfill the expectations that are forcefully placed upon them. Due to this miscommunication, there is a constant generational gap between students and their parents. In this gap, there are multiple situations that take place in the student's life that can impact their physical and mental abilities. There are serious illnesses such as depression and anxiety that are caused from difficult living conditions such as stress and grief, something that is oftentimes ignored or looked over from the older generations of immigrant background.
Our findings have shown very strong feelings of guilt from students, particularly of Asian and Latinx origin. The guilt seems to stem from very strong bonds to their families. The participants seem to feel some sort of moral obligation to support their families and help out in whatever way possible at home, something that they need to give up when they come to college. On top of this guilt of not being able to help out at home, many feel that them being at school and trying to get an education is something that their parents don't quite understand. Their parents feel that the only way being at school will be worth the sacrifice is if their children gain some sort of wealth in the end. This constant push and pull between trying to please themselves and live up to their parents' expectations, accompanied by the guilt of not being able to be at home, appears to cause a lot of stress and mental health issues for these students.
A concurrent theme that I noticed throughout these accounts was concerning mental health. Most of these students expressed the shared concern that in Latinx households, mental health is either unacknowledged or overlooked. In one account, a student even discussed how these issues weren't real until they happened to them.
New policies that the new administration has introduced has compelled some of the participants to engage in overt ways of resistance, such as protesting. Some of the participants expressed being first-time protesters joining the Women's March and the Day Without Immigrants March this year. However, the majority of participants felt that there are multiple ways that students at UAC engage in resistance, including attending college, obtaining good grades, and working hard as a way to validate their parents' sacrifices. As one of the participants shared, resistance depends on how you carry it out, how those around you carry it out. Because for me, resistance, it basically protests, but also like really taking care of yourself, grounding yourself, surrounding yourself with people you love. And I think that's really it. Surrounding yourself with love is resistance.